BassResinator here. I procured these little MDF bicycles from 24 Hour Craft, and I stuck 3 of them together. They didn't have any thicker ones. I want to make a mold so that I can do some resin work with it, because this is one of the few bicycle patterns that actually looks really good. A lot of them look cheesy or don't look like the real thing. This looks very similar to the bike that I use, so I want to coat it, otherwise it'll have little wood grainy things in it, and that's not what I want. Well, I'm saying I'm going to coat it, and then, goodness, I've got this Maker's Magic gloss. There, come on. And it takes 48 hours to completely cure. So I gotta wait at least that long before I can put, and then I got some of that stuff on my finger and it's sticky. On my thumbnail actually. Before I put silicone on it, I need to, or set it in silicone, I need to make sure that it's got a glossy finish, because I have done things with wood in the past, and when I pull them out, they've got this texture, and it's not real good mold. So it says just paint it on there, so I'm gonna paint it on. Now I stuck 3 of these things together. Hopefully it'll coat that. So that when the silicone goes in there, it will just slide right out instead of having a whole bunch of little wood marks on it. If you need MDF things, I will tell you that this 24 Hour Craft, they've got a huge library, and they get it done. If you got a job you need done, that's how long it takes them to get the thing cut out and packaged up to ship to you. So 24 Hour Craft is not lying. And I'll get the surface in just a little bit. I just want to make sure I get all of this exposed wood texture here. And I'm just using the back of some plastic thing that some stickers came in. It's not going to hurt it. But with this having to dry for 48 hours, might as well have it on something that I'm not worried about. All I needed to do is give it a nice coat and have it glossy so that it'll slide out, so that the silicone will not stick to it. In a negative way. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. If you haven't had an experience with making molds from wood or stone or different things like that, if you want to have a really nice finish on it, you got to coat it with something. Okay, I think I got all of the inside done. It's sucking that in there. Okay, inside of that one is done. Now let me get the pedals down here. Tour de France is going on right now, so that's what had me inspired to make this mold. I've done a ride with some friends, a benefit ride for people who suffer from spina bifida, which is it can be a very debilitating thing to people who get it, and it's extremely preventable. But this is a ridiculous ride. South Texas in June, the end of June, super hot. Well, we take off at 5 in the morning. I didn't do it the last couple of years because of surgeries and stuff, but take off the end of June, where the average temperature is well over 100. That's going to be fun getting it out of that. And take off at 5 in the morning. What is that? A few pieces of paper. And take off on what happens the first day is we go 142, 145 miles. There are places, we have SAG vehicles. SAG stands for Supplies and Gear. And if you're not in shape, don't do the ride. If you have not practiced in immense heat, don't do the ride. My wife thinks we're just total nuts. But, you know, when you're doing it for a benefit, to raise money for Spina Bifida Foundation of Texas, that it makes all the difference in the world. Especially, well, let me finish telling the whole story. We take off at 5 in the morning. We have vehicles that are loaded down with liquids, Gatorades, water, pickle juice. Did you know that pickle juice is an amazing substance to prevent cramps? And when you are riding and it is hot, you will cramp up. And we calculate we're going to stop every 15 miles or 15 to 20 miles to load up our water bottles. And sometimes we have to stop earlier than that. If somebody's got a flat or somebody's got some type, has a wreck or something, those are not fun to deal with, but we have to stop for those. But we have to be in shape. The slowest group has to average, at the slowest, 15 miles an hour on the bicycle. Group C, that's the slow ones, the one that I ride with. You have to be able to average between 15 and 18 miles an hour. Group B, which is the medium speed one, you have to go 18 to 20. And Group A, they're booking it. I mean, they're just hauling down the road. So we start off at different times so that we can all end up at the same spot at the same time, because we have a breakfast stop about 45 miles away. There's a church that is all in favor of us raising money that way, and so they open their fellowship hall and let us go in, and they have different volunteers from the church that come in, and it's really neat. The biking community, well, any community that's involved in raising money for those that are less fortunate is fun. But they open the doors and they have volunteers come in from the church and service different things. Most of it is fruits and stuff that's got a lot of liquid in it, so that again, so that we're not dying from the heat. Which at 5 in the morning in the summertime down here, it rarely gets below 80 degrees. So 5 in the morning feels really nice and cool. We stop for breakfast. We stop every couple of times, but at 100 miles up in Hebronville, we stop for lunch, and that's where they have calculated that Group A should overtake Group C and Group B, so that we can all eat lunch together. Sometimes A races and they get there before us. That's their prerogative, though. But we've had people suffer from heat exhaustion and have to call emergency services to come. I hope that seals that up really good and gives me that glossy finish that I desire. But the first day, and then after lunch, which nobody's wanting to ride anymore after that, because we've already gone 100 miles, and the sun has started to come up, and it takes us about 5-6 hours to do the 100. We still got 45 more to go, but now the sun is out, and I don't know if you know what chip seal roads are. They are torturous on a bicycle. Chip seal is where the paving company comes along and they just dump a bunch of tar on the road, and then they put gravel of different sizes. Well, I think they put the largest type gravel out there on that next road, because it is torturous on the rear. It's like just what the Tour de France guys, when they have that cobblestone section where it is just tearing the tires up. I had a tire just fall apart, and luckily in the SAG vehicle we had another tire so I could swap it out. But man, it's torturous when you're in shape. If you're not in shape, I was there when guy thought he was going really good, and then all of a sudden he just was not good, and he had to stop at that lunch break, and they took him to a hospital because he was in a bad way. But anyway, the end of the ride it's 250 miles away from where we start, and we do it all in 2 days, and it's in San Antonio, and we have these stops and stuff all along, and then the last 20 miles the Group A people have to get off their racing bikes and go slow with all the rest of us, and we all ride in together. And at Texas A&M University San Antonio, they have an outreach campus there, and they have this big hill right before the entrance, and it is so fun because when you crest that hill and start coming down, all these little kids that are suffering from this birth defect, spina bifida, start cheering for us, because they've had people on radios and stuff, so they know exactly where we are. But when we crest that hill, they all just start screaming and hollering and cheering us on. Man, I tell you, that 250 miles of torture on the chip seal roads, and the heat, and countless bottles of pickle juice. Pickle juice actually tastes really good when you're just dying. And coming over that hill and having the kids cheer for us, man. And then we get down to the kids, and those that are able stand up and put a ribbon with a medal on it around our necks, because we're their heroes, because we've been riding all this way just for them. And man, it'll bring tears to the eyes. In fact, right now I'm not going to show you a picture of myself. I'm getting ready to tear up talking about it, just because it's an emotional time. Hot, sweaty. The kids don't care. We rode all that way for them, and makes us feel good, makes them feel good. Then we have this big barbecue type thing at that university, and so we get to talk with the families of the kids, and talk with the kids too, and it's a lot of fun. I like doing those benefit rides. I've done a number of them, but by far that is the toughest. It's not the longest ones that I've ridden, but man, it is definitely tough. I think I've gotten all of those. No, not the whole tire. I did the inside, but I didn't do the outside. This, if you get some of this stuff on you, it is sticky. But if it does what I want it to do, if nothing else, if it takes away a bunch of those little areas where porous nature of the wood, it'll make the mold making so much easier. Now I've got 48 hours to figure out what kind of thing I'm going to put this in. The good thing is it's less than ½ an inch thick, so I don't have to worry about a ton. But I don't want to waste silicone. First off, it's expensive. Second off, it's expensive. That's sticky. No, I didn't get all of the inside of that wheel. Oh, maybe I did. I think it just sucked it up. That's crazy. I know I went over the insides. The instructions say to get rid of bubbles, use a heat gun. And I don't see very many bubbles, but I do see a few, so I may hit it in just a little bit. But I've ridden that 2 times for sure, and I had my first real crash on a bicycle. Oh man, I am so glad I was wearing my helmet. I was actually riding with the B group at that time, so we were hauling, going about 21 miles an hour, and we were in single file because there was road construction going on, and they have these barrels, big orange barrels, and I don't know what is in them, but if you hit it, you will stop. And we were drafting off of each other, which means the back wheel of one guy is here and my wheel is 2 to 3 inches away, and you got to trust each other enough to ride that way. So we do have all these training rides a month or two before the actual event, just to make sure that we get to know each other better in an intimate way, intimate in the sense of how you ride your bicycle. Is it going to be compatible with the way there are some people I won't ride with, or at least I won't ride in a drafting mode. I don't trust them. You know, they get distracted too easily or something, and we're going to crash. Well, it was right before our lunch break on the second day. So we had already ridden 145 plus another 75, and we were about 2 miles from our lunch stop. So we were all really hungry, and we were wanting to get there because we knew that after that we only had about 20 miles, 25 miles to go. And that's fun, you know. You start pushing each other and having fun and enjoying each other's company. But I don't know what happened to the guy in front of me, but I don't know if he hit something on the road, but he wasn't the front of we were back about 4 people from the front, and I don't know what he hit, but it caused his front wheel to just whack real fast, and he went right into one of those barrels. Well, he came from 18, 20 miles an hour to 0 in no time. I mean, just, well, I'm 2 inches away from him. There was no way for me to react. And the guy behind me and the guy behind him, it was, but he just smacked. I crashed right into him. It happened so fast. So if you see a wreck on the Tour de France, and it wipes out a pile, and it's because they're drafting off of each other. And I tell you, when you come to a quick stop like that, not a good feeling. But what happened is all of the riders that I was with, we have these special pedals that you have special shoes that clip into the pedals. They're clips, and it's a chore to get out, but they're made like downhill skis that, you know, you can clip in and they don't come off. But if you're going down in an accident, they come off quickly. I don't know how they know to come off quickly, but usually it takes work to unclip from my pedals. Well, I was airborne. My bike crashed into the guy, and next thing I know, I'm flying through the air. I don't know how high, but I cleared all the other riders that were in front of me. For a pretty big guy, that's something else. But I went flying, and I thought, I remembered all these things. If you're gonna have a wreck, try and roll so that it lessens the impact on your body. So I'm trying to do this flip in midair, and I wish we would have had it on video. No, not really. I probably would regret that, but I say that. Okay, I've got it all covered. Now I'm going to get the heat gun on. But I went flying, and I didn't make the complete flip. I ended up landing right on top of my head. That's where I was glad I had my helmet. But I hit on my helmet and just slid on the road, this chip seal, and it seemed like an eternity. It probably was only a couple seconds, but I slid, and then I came to a stop, and I crumpled real quick like. Don't know if this is going to do anything or not, but it says pop bubbles. I don't see anything popping. I may have to give that another coat. It says it'll dry in an hour, but it's not totally cured for 48 hours. But I sat there after coming to a stop, and I was trying to compose myself and figure out, was I dead, you know, or what happened? Was I did I have anything broken? And all these guys are running up. You okay? You okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And they said, man, your glasses. My glasses. The frames are here. And this side was fine, but this one was bent that way. And apparently I had, when I was trying to flip and I landed on my head, apparently the helmet was taking most of the brunt, but I scratched the side of my face and it was all raw, and then the sweat started hitting in it, and I was like, oh, that does not feel good. But they said, can you move? And I said, I think so. And so I was taking my time getting up, and they said, what happened? And I said, I don't know, man. The guy in front of me just... And they said, well, he's okay too. They were checking, and I said, well, check on the bikes, because we got expensive bikes, you know. So they said, no, everything looks good. Well, then I checked my bike, and the only thing that had messed up was one of the water bottle holders got bent in like that, so it just bent it out. It was easy. But everybody survived it, you know, and our bikes were okay to ride. We just went from 20 miles an hour to 0 in no time at all. Yeah, that was my first and last big crash. Now, I have fallen over a couple times trying to unclip my pedal, and if you're a bicyclist, you're probably sitting there shaking your head like, yep, we know what you're talking about. It happens. You will go down learning how to unclip. But yeah, that was a trip. Anyway, you've seen what I'm doing. This is the end of this video until it comes time to make the silicone in it. Okie doke. See ya. Okay, I'm back with my silicone. This is sitting on contact paper that I have removed the paper part, so now it's just contact. And I'm going to try and put some silicone and build it up around it. Everything's going well except for the bicycle one. It came unstuck even though I had tape and the contact paper on there. So I put this heavy piece that I had done, and it's got a very small bottom, and what I will do when this cures up, I will mix up a little bit more silicone and put in, I'll take this off and put that in its place, and hopefully it'll just fill in there like it's supposed to. And on that one, I got it sticking there, so I'm just waiting for things to cure up. Yep. Okay, I took that piece that I had with flowers in it out, and then I filled it in with some more silicone, so that's done. This one sealed up, and I pulled the coral out of this one. Look at the details on that. So yeah, that's what I was wanting. It was not easy getting that coral out of here because this stuff is super lightweight and likes to crumble. So that was one of the reasons, oh, I'm sitting there shaking it. Hoo-wah! That was one of the reasons why I wanted to make a mold of it instead of using it using it in its natural state, because then it would cause a ton of air bubbles as well as the white chalky silt would come off of it, and didn't want that. So that one worked. Now to see if that, actually these are going to take a while. This is going to take a while. So let me set my phone down. Actually, I'm going to start with this one over here first, because I don't think it's going to take nearly as long to unmold. In fact, it almost unmolded itself for me. Because that contact paper held onto it. So yeah, the bottom side had an air bubble. That's okay, because that's going to be the bottom. I'm not going to use that part. What I want to see is how detailed the mold is going to be, and if it will retain on that, especially on that Petoskey stone. Because if it can do that, that would be just swell. Okay, I got the stone out. Can I? There is a little, it's really hard to see, but I'm not even going to let you try. There is some of that design on it. Awesome. Now this one should be a lot more difficult because it had a strange bottom section on it. Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And the silicone went all over the bottom of it. So I'm trying to, I thought it was more in the screen. Okay, there, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Yay. And this one, whoosh. See all of that? All of that design? Wow. Let's do it this way. You're going to have to trust me. Look at it here. Now there's some little bubbles here, but that was in the top of the silicone as it was trying to release, and it got stuck underneath the stone, but the pattern is there, and that pattern goes all the way around. There, you can sort of see some of it down there. And then the Petoskey stone, see if I can get the light just right. It's very faint, but it is there. Yes! Eureka! I have done something I have wanted to do for a long time. Okay. That was gross. Where the two different types of silicone met, super slimy. I hope that's not the way this one is. Okay. Let's see if I can just remove this from the paper. Oh, I'm feeling slimy. I'm feeling slimy. Yep, it's slimy where the two meet. I don't know why it is, but that is gross feeling. I used to tell my sons, and I still swear by it, unless you're dealing with toxic waste, whatever you get your hands into, like if you have to change the wax seal on the bottom of your toilet, it can wash off. So now holy, look at it. It's just icky, sticky. And it's not the other silicone that I mixed up. It's just where the two met. Now, to get this one out, well, that was easy. You know what? I'm going to fold this over. And I'm going to go get some paper towels just a second. So that, I just use the paper towel to wipe off the sticky off of me. And I'll use it on, you know what? I should just do it right now. But that first tire that I started to unmold came off really easily, and I know it's because I used that glossy sealer on it, and that made it so that it gives away, whereas before when I've made molds using wood, they stick terribly. Okay, back to this. Look at that. Just peeling off just like it's supposed to. Oh, look at that. Oh my word. This, and look, it's coming out. Oh, you can't see it. Just a second. There. This around the handlebars is coming off loose really easily too. Yes. Now where it went underneath, because it started to float, that is holding on a little bit, but it's, look at that, it's just peeling. Man, I couldn't have asked for something better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Lord. Yes. Look at that. Just in time for the Tour de France, as it's finished, going into the second week. Get loose there. I'm going to have to peel some of this, trim that back, so that I don't have weird things hanging into the... Look at that. Even that middle section between the seat. Oh man, okay, just when I get done. See some, look at that. So I'll just have to trim a little bit right here and there, but man, is that a pretty mold or what? Oh, I'm so happy with this. My idea worked using that glossy finish on there. Now, the hands have to get cleaned. I'm going to let this mold sit for a day before I use them. Molds sit for a day before I use them, because I don't want the silicone to deteriorate. Okay, that's what I had for you today then. Had to wait 2 days for me to be able to put that into silicone, because I wanted to make sure that gloss sealed over, but now that that's done, yes. And now I can touch my phone again now that I got this nasty stuff off. Okay, we'll see you on the flip side when I'm making some epoxy to put into these. Here I go. I just mixed up some resin. I'm going to use Pigmently Asphalt Magic for the fossils. For the coral, I'm going to use Tiger. Those are powders, mica. And for the bicycle, I'm just going to use clear at this point. And I've got 2 ounces. I'm not sure exactly how much is going to be needed in each of these, so I got 2 ounces out for each thing. I'm going to put in, and I'm going to pour the bicycle last, because if I need more resin than one of these, then I will do that. Now the reason I'm doing the coral in an orange is I have something in mind for it if it all cures up correctly and looks really nice. I want a colorful coral array, and that's why we've got this tiger orange. Go tiger go. And the bicycle at this point, I want to just run it clear. I'm thinking I want to dust the mold with different micas at one point, but right now I just want to run it clear to make sure everything looks really good. And I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to have a clear bicycle. Huh. And I just finished mixing this resin up for about 5.5 to 6 minutes. But with mica powder, you definitely have to mix it some more. You don't want the little floaties coming up and popping, and then there be some dry mica in the middle of that. It's sort of like when you're making biscuits and you don't mix the flour in correctly, and you get that, you go on to take a bite of a biscuit and you get a poof of flour in your mouth. It's like, no. So just as off-putting as that is, that's how off-putting mica is in resin. So I'll let that sit for just a second. First, to degas some of the bubbles that inevitably went in with me mixing the mica in, but also if any mica should not be mixed up well, it can come up to the top and I can see it and make sure that I've got it. Now with mica, you don't want to just start getting after it really fast, because you'll end up having a mess. So if you go start it slowly, you don't have mica all over the place, and you have less of those little pockets of mica powder puffs. Look at that color, isn't that cool? Set that one down, look at the orange again. Orange, you get glad? I don't see anything coming up to the surface. So I'll take the stick out. How about this one? No, just little bubbles. Now I did, on the mold for the fossils, I did cut a little bit more of an opening in to make it easier to pour, but also, since I'm going to pour the other way, I'll do the orange back there. It's also easier to unmold. So now I was just guesstimating that this would take about 1.5 ounces. And I'm thinking it's more like 1 ounce. More like 8/10 of an ounce. So if that's all that took, a lot of that left over. Now this should be fun. I'm really hoping these fossil things turn out. Because if I can recreate Petoskey stone, that would be amazing. Well, you know, I said I was going to use clear for the bicycle. What I think I'm going to do is use these two colors, because I've got plenty left over. Everything's cured up now. I pulled out, I had enough resin left over. I mixed in some really dark green. Got a little frog and some lily pads. You can see the green through there. It was very dark. Okay, I want to start with coral first. I think this is going to be the toughest to remove since this is 40A hardness. And if you yank on it too hard, it might break. At least that's what I feel. It might not. I'm getting nowhere fast with this. Tried reaching in with them and using the backside of my thumbs to yank on it to get a hold of it. Went out with a dog and we've been having enough rain now that got mosquitoes. Now I feel like they're all over me. It's loose on the sides, it's just not letting go down low. There's coming. See, it still had some of that blue from the mold itself. Some of the mold came off. That's one of the reasons it was not letting go. Letting go, letting go. Will not let the resin go. Well, I'll work on that after a bit, but look, can you see the detail? Coral. Okay, now texture of the coral is on that. There's a little bit of underflow or whatever. And this is the epoxy. I mean the epoxy. Petoskey. I hope this one shows up good. It would be so cool if I were able to recreate it. Right now it's coming out smooth. Let go of that, let go. Just looks like a smooth stone. I thought I could detect some of the in the mold itself. I thought I could detect some of the, well, here's some of the shape right there on the side, but not enough. Bummer. Well, I got a good rock mold. Okay, now Tour de France specialty. Not necessarily the colors I was wanting to go for the bike, but you know, when you got leftover resin, had some of these droplets. I think that's all of them. Yep. Okay, now come on, bike. It's releasing very nicely. Yes. Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. seat post, seat, crossbar. Now this section, we have the water bottles, and it came apart real easy. And now I get the brakes and handlebars, and they're coming out. The front wheel, and voila, that's the back side, and it came out really nicely. I had enough leftover resin to also make this little jobby, so if you need a place to store your bike, there it is. Cool. Yeah. I've wanted a bike mold. I now have a bike mold that works really well. It still has some of the wood texture, but not nearly what I've had on other things in the past. Now I'll just use different colors, like black for the tires, maybe a gray here for the chain, and the frame a different color, and then I can, yeah, if I really wanted to get crazy, I could get some little skinny tape and wrap it around the handlebars. Yeah, I'm liking that. TDF special. Dun dun dun. Tour de France. Le Tour. Cool, and it stands up. That's one of the reasons why I wanted it this that thick, was so that I could have it stand up on its own. Cool. Yay! I'm very happy. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Come back and see what else I'm going to be able to do. Didn't quite get the Petoskey stone. I did get the coral, and the other coral stone right there, sort of. But I do have the ability to make a stone, a smooth stone. I guess if I wanted to get the Petoskey feel, I could draw them on there. All those little marks. Okay, good. I will see you soon. By the time you see this, I will have already gone through the collaboration with Mini Scenes GB. There's a bunch of us that are participating in that collab. Christmas in July. And let me know what you think of this, as well as other things that I've done. And yeah, come back and see what's in store next time. Okay. Toodaloo, cockatoo.